Okay, so I'm Kelsi and I'm the clinician, and Shelby is being the client, and she's 12. Okay, so today we're just going to do a couple different activities. First, we are going to talk about some of our speech helpers and the different things that help us make our speech. And then we're going to do a little iceberg activity too, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Okay.
So first, we're just going to review some of our speech helpers or the things that help us speak. So what can you remember about our speech helpers?
With my lungs, I can make sure that I have enough breath to talk because I think sometimes I stutter more when I try and talk too much on one breath.
Good.
With my mouth, I have my lips and my tongue, and I have to make sure that I kind of keep them relaxed so that I'm not tense, and then I can get my sounds out better.
Yeah, good.
And then with my voice box, that's kind of like where my air is. So as long as I make sure kind of with my lungs that I have enough air, I can probably get more sounds out then.
So let's try using our voice box a little bit. So our voice box isn't on when we say a sound like try that. Do you notice your voice box? It's off. And then other sounds like zzz, you feel your voice box.
Yeah, I can feel it vibrate.
Where our voice box is. Good. So our different speech helpers, we have our lungs, our lips, and our tongue, which are in our mouth, our voice box, and all of these things can either help or help make our speech easier or harder sometimes. So we'll work on some of these things, manipulating some of our speech helpers to see how we can use those to make our speech easier. So we'll talk about that. Is that good for that? Okay, now we are going to do, have you ever heard the iceberg of stuttering? No. So what this is a picture like this. And there's a lot of different parts to stuttering, but there's two main parts in this iceberg. So everything under the water is things that we don't really see or other people don't really see, which is some of the more emotional stuff. So things like fear, or sometimes you might avoid certain things. So that's everything that others don't see, the other side of stuttering that a lot of other people don't see. But what they do see is above the water, which is like our blocks and our repetitions, and actually like our lips and our different movements that we make while we stutter. So that's everything above the water. And everything below is how stuttering can make us feel, the pressure we might feel, or sometimes like if we're embarrassed or we get scared. That's everything under the water. So do you want to make your own iceberg, and then we can talk about it a little bit? Okay. So everything above, like what kind of stuttering do you think that you do? Good, it looks like you know a lot about it. It's good to be aware and to know. And everything below. Some of the things that you don't think people see or know about your stuttering. What that you feel about your stuttering. Sometimes we don't really know unless we think about it.
I know, I'm kind of trying to think about what it is like when I stutter.
That's good. And then we'll talk about those things. Whenever you're out of ideas, it's fine. Okay. All right, good. So I see all of the stuttering that you think you do, like blocks and stops and freezing and repeating. Do you repeat like whole words or sounds or?
Usually just like sounds in the beginning.
In the beginning of sounds? Your face gets hot. Happens to me too when I get scared sometimes. And eye movement. Like, what do you mean by eye movement?
So like sometimes if I'm talking to someone and I'm stuttering, I'll like look down or look away. Even though that sometimes happens when I'm normally talking, I think it happens more when I stutter.
Good. It's good that you are aware of these things and that you know, because when you know, we can figure out some things that might make these things easier for you. So everything under the water here, all about your feelings. So sometimes you feel embarrassed. So does this happen like with people you do know and you don't know? Like, do you get embarrassed?
Sometimes both. I think if it's people that I don't know, it's a lot of the time. But when it's people that I do know, I think it's mostly like in class, like if I have to like give a presentation or something, or if I really am tripping over my words and kind of get stuck really bad, then that's kind of when it happens.
Then you feel embarrassed.
Or if I'm like meeting someone new.
And they might not know that you stutter. Scary. Or do you mean talking is scary or stuttering is scary?
Kind of both, I think. I think just sometimes it makes me like not want to talk, and I think that I won't be able to get my words out.
Okay, that's a common feeling. I know it can be scary sometimes, especially talk in front of people that you don't know. And nervous, that's kind of like scary. You get nervous and anxious. What does it feel like when you get anxious?
I think I think it kind of makes me even more nervous, and I think I get more tense, which makes me stutter more. So then it just gets worse and worse, and then I don't want to talk at all, and my stuttering gets really bad, and I block really hard, and I think it just doesn't feel good.
And avoiding. What situations do you notice yourself avoiding in, do you think?
Normally if it's like if the teacher wants like volunteers or something like that, like I won't raise my hand. I won't really like put myself out there. I'll kind of just sit back and like let other people do stuff. Or if it's like situations that I think could be hard, or like something that I have to say is going to be hard to say, I'll just try and like not have to say it, or like say it in a different way.
How does that make you feel? Do you wish that you could participate more, or?
Yeah, because I usually know like what the teacher's asking, or I want to be able to do more things. But I don't know. I want to be able to participate, but I think when it does happen, it just makes things like harder to do.
That's understandable. So we kind of talked about, you have on here not wanting to talk. We kind of talked about that. People not wanting to be your friend. Do you think that's because of your stuttering, or more because of you don't participate?
I think it's kind of both. Like I think people might think I'm shy because I don't participate. And then I think it's also because of my stutter, because people don't really understand it, and they don't want to ask questions because, I don't know, maybe they don't want to be rude or something. But I don't know. So, and it's just like, it's hard explaining it, especially if I don't talk to them in the first place, because I sort of avoid meeting new people.
Okay. And judgment, you think others will judge you?
Yeah, kind of. It's like sort of the same thing with that, but like then in class too, like if I am giving a presentation on something, I feel like if I stutter on something, like the other kids are judging me, or like they don't really understand, so they don't get it.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad we were able to identify all of these things. And now we can maybe talk about some different ways that we can maybe make some of these things easier, especially like some of your blocks and your phrasing and things like that. So hopefully, as we move through our therapy, we can find out some ways that will make those things easier for us.